Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hell yeah.
They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
All right, everybody, it is Diabetic Street. If you are not completely satisfied with our product, you can return it for double your money back, triple your money back. If this actually cost you something, the deal is null and void. I was told today that if you want to make a good product or a good service, you should offer a return policy that is not just your money back. Do something crazy that has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about today. And speaking of when I was driving, having nothing to do, when I was driving here, there's a bunch of people. There's like a circle in the middle of town, and there's a bunch of people that were going to cross the street. And I was kind of looking at them, like, are they going to go? Are they going to not go? And there's another guy to my left that I didn't see because he was kind of coming from like the city has a circle. You have the people in the middle that are kind of like on parks and stuff, but it's not like a crosswalk. It's kind of like there's a circle, and then they just shoot out from that circle into whatever crosswalk. And since I was looking at the person on my right, the left side's kind of, it's not as obvious that somebody's going to come in. So anyway, the guy comes in, and so I slow down because I see him. I saw him later than I should have. I mean, that's obvious, but bottom line is I didn't hit him. I stopped, and if he would have kept on going. But of course, they have to put the hands out like, dude, what are you doing? Shake their head violently. And it's like, for one, it's because I was looking at the family coming the other way. That was the immediate threat. 2, I did stop. But 3, why do you go around life like that? In that, if you constantly go around trying to get justification for all your wrongs, it's already done. This isn't you hit me. This isn't you're going to hit me. This is, boy, you came closer than you'd like. And I'm not texting. I was driving, and this guy, he's going to go and now he's going to look for the next thing to complain about. And my thing is always attitude. It's just, if you can go around with a good attitude, look for the best in things. Like, he could have easily looked at me and been like, oh, yeah, I know, you screwed up. Yeah, no worries. And me looking like, yeah, sorry, I was way too close. You have a good experience and you move on. Or, boy, reeling all the attention in the world. Look at me, everybody. I'm a victim. I almost got hit. Well, almost get hit, but again, it was closer than he or myself would have liked. But just a weird attitude to go through life. Of course, I'm going to move on, and I would say not think of it again, but here I am talking about it. But I just thank God. I wonder if we are nature versus nurture, if that's just the way we're wired, or were we brought up that way? Like, in other words, did he have a choice in the matter? If could he have chosen to have that good exchange with me and then made it a pleasant thing and moved on, or he just had to have been upset? And I would offer to you that if he was upset, then he needs to start working on how to not be upset, because let's face it, I mean, you talk about all the things we're doing for our health, eating and everything else, and sleeping, not stressing, especially, if you have diabetes, which is kind of, what I revolve the show around. Having a good attitude is probably one of the best things you could do for your health. not just anecdotally, every study that's done, and I talked to a lot of elderly people, a lot of old ladies that are, I talked to a lady a few years ago. She was 105, and she's the greatest attitude in the world. And talked to a lady that just turned 100, one of my customers, and one thing they all have in common, they all have a great attitude, and I don't think that's a coincidence. I think there's a lot to it. There's probably something that's going to be discovered later on, and it's going to be one for one. Good attitude equals good health. In any event, some of the stuff that the one of the teasers that I mentioned was there are 7 things that I kind of am reminded of that are full of sugar that we throw in front of our kids and us every day, and if we could knock that out, we'd be doing a lot better. As a diabetic, there are certain things that we forget that we need, and one of them is enough sleep. And that's pretty much anybody, but especially if you're struggling with some sort of disease. And again, I'm not a doctor. This is just all conversational stuff. That pretty much everything I talk about is stuff that sometimes we don't know certain things, but once we get we start going down a path, then we're in the information age. You can go and look, but a lot of times we just can't go down that path because we're either advertised to go a certain way, because the way everything is set up, we all think kind of the same things. We all go see the same blockbuster movies. We all listen to the same crappy music. I swear, I think it's just one person that writes every Taylor Swift song, and even a lot of R&B. It's like the same beat, the same this, that, and the other. So when it comes to food and everything else, it's the same type of thinking. So sometimes we have to be shaken out of that, and it just takes one. You listen to a boring scientist. The problem is sometimes the good information is not marketed well, and you have to have somebody that goes in that knows how to market stuff and put it out there to get it out there. Otherwise, the good information just gets buried. One thing about sleep is, what I've noticed personally is, if you do want to get a good night's sleep, make sure a lot of your anxieties are taken care of the night before. Even if it's something as stupid as laying your clothes out, getting your lunch kind of ready, like putting it on the side of the refrigerator. If you have a car, make sure it has gas and it's clean, and all these things will make the momentum easy. Just to once you get that momentum started, now it's easier because there's nothing resisting you. It's like a freeway, that there's less things in the road. If you ever notice on the side of a hill, when you see the water coming over top, they'll have it almost looks like little paddles that are just there in, let's say, a concrete, I guess, for water, what would it be? Not like a riverbed, but just basically if you have like your concrete causeway coming down the side of a hill, they're just not going to let the water just flow down. They want it to slow down, so they put these little paddles up, and they're like restrictors where the water has to hit, and it slows the flow of water down, so it's not as violent at the bottom, and you get your it's smooth, but it's not as fast as we'd like. So when we get up, it's harder to get up when you got to do this. You don't have a good breakfast. You don't have your stuff ready. So we need to help ourselves out by having the stuff ready to go. And then when you get up in the morning, it's easier to get up. So therefore, when you're sleeping, it's easier to get a lot of sleep because everything is taken care of. I think it was Woody Allen that he said that he'd have problems sleeping because he had these ideas. So he just kept a notepad next to his bed, pulled out his notepad when he had an idea, wrote it down, put the notepad underneath the car, and he would just go back to sleep, no problem. So it's just taking care of the stuff that needs to be taken care of. You'll get a better night's sleep. And one of the things they're saying that now that if you sleep, it will strengthen the immune system. And look how much time we're going to lose by, you're sick, you're down for a month, especially if you have kids. And if we could get rid of our downtime because of being sick, all the little things it takes us, the things that we do to get good sleep. Let's say it takes a little bit of time, but look how much time you're getting back by not being sick. Plus, nobody wants to feel bad. And, again, especially if you have your diabetes or your different diseases, to where when you're sick, you take it down 2 extra notches. So you have to put your energy into preventative maintenance, so to speak. I always say with your car, people wonder why you're always wrenching on cars. And because my thing is, I would rather spend an hour in my driveway versus 2 hours on the side of the road. I do it anyway just because I like to work on cars. But, you got to be smart about it and do it ahead of time and at your leisure, instead of, okay, now you're going to be down and out and totally ineffective because you're sick. So we have this article I was reading, and it's about things that are full of sugar that you kind of forget. And it's always good to, even just a reminder, and not only that, is what do people do to get around it. So we got, on the list of 7, the first thing is condiments. Obviously you got your ranch and your ketchup and this, that, and the other, and it's just automatic. You get fries, you get ketchup, and I'm the worst offender. But the thing of it is, like the other day, I'm eating my French fries while I'm driving. I know I probably shouldn't eat it, but the only thing worse than French fries are French fries with a bunch of ketchup. But I didn't have time to crack open the packet of ketchup, so I just you start eating the fries because you're bored. But you really don't taste the salt and stuff until you stay away from the ketchup, and it's just like, these are as good as potato chips. So once you start eating them, it does satiate you as much as anything else, and you start to get used to it. So like I always say, is start turning back the knob. Sure, we all love to just eat totally organic, whatever, but if you are, an unhealthy eater, just start to pull the lever back. If you can't do it full on cold turkey, that's fine, but you may be more successful by just cutting out the condiments. So like with salad dressing, I think there's things you could do. Dip your fork in the salad dressing and then eat with that, or just mix it better instead of just globbing it on top and then going for it again. But these little things are going to help. And again, we have to do it now as diabetics, because later on, if we can't do it now while we're younger and have energy, we sure as heck aren't going to be able to do it later on when we're starting to suffer the complications of the diabetes. The other food, and this is probably one of the biggest ones, it's breakfast cereal. My gosh, you go look for a breakfast cereal that's low in carbs, you will be looking and looking and looking and looking. It doesn't exist. They don't even try to lie about it. At least with some things, they'll call it diet or sugar-free or whatever and get away. No, there's just nothing out there. If you find one, email me, because it's you have a better chance of finding your tail in the dark. It just doesn't exist. I think Cheerios is like the lowest in carbohydrates, and I think it's gluten-free too. So if you're going for that, you might as well. But they're, I think, in like these kashis and all these other sugars, they advertise about how healthy they are. But the problem is, yeah, they're healthy, but they may be healthy, or at least nutritionists, they may have a lot of nutrition in them, but the downside is all that sugar you're taking on. And your high sugar, like I used to wonder why I get so many stomach aches. I'm sure it couldn't be because of 4 cups of coffee in the morning on an empty stomach, but it's that you're spiking your blood sugar too. That will cause stomach aches in my experience